Welcome to my channel BBC RAR Coins. Have you ever stopped to think about that little coin in your pocket, the Washington quarter? Money bag from the face of America's first president to the iconic eagle and beyond. This small piece of metal carries nearly a century of history and design evolution. Top 1. ChatGPT said, in 1965, a small change in American history gave birth to one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever created, the Washington quarter dollar. It may look like any ordinary coin, something you'd use every day to buy a soda or feed a parking meter, but hidden among millions of ordinary quarters struck that year lies one of the most extraordinary treasures in U.S. coin history, a coin worth over $75,400. The story of the 1965 Washington quarter begins during a turning point in America's monetary system. For decades, U.S. coins were struck in 90% silver. But as silver prices began to rise, the government faced a serious problem. It was becoming more expensive to make coins than the coins themselves were worth. In 1965, the U.S. Mint decided to remove silver from dimes, quarters, and half dollars, replacing it with a new copper-nickel composition. This marked the end of the silver era in American circulation coinage. But during this massive changeover, a small and mysterious error took place. Somewhere in the production process, a few leftover silver planchets, blank metal discs from the previous year, were accidentally fed into the press's mint for the new 1965 quarters. The result was a handful of rare and beautiful coins that looked almost identical to their copper-nickel counterparts, but were secretly struck on solid silver, to the naked eye. These rare quarters appear ordinary, but a closer inspection reveals their secret. They weigh slightly more, around 6.25 grams compared to the normal 5.67 grams of the copper-nickel version. Their edge is brighter, their ring is sharper, and their shine has that unmistakable silver luster. These small details have turned them into some of the most sought-after coins in modern American numismatics. Only a few of these accidental silver 1965 quarters have ever been found, and every discovery sends a shockwave through the collector community. Imagine holding what looks like a simple 25-cent coin, only to discover that it's worth enough to buy a car, pay for college, or even make a down payment on a house. In pristine mint condition, one of these ultra-rare quarters has sold for an astonishing $75,400, setting a record that still amazes coin experts today. The 1965 Washington quarter is more than a piece of money. It's a symbol of transition, a product of error, and a slice of American history frozen in metal. It reminds us that even in the most common objects, incredible stories are waiting to be uncovered. It tells us that value isn't always about gold or glitter, but about the moments in time that an object represents. Top 2. The United States Mint released another issue of the Washington quarter dollar, a coin millions of Americans would handle every single day without a second thought. Yet hidden among the ordinary change of that year lies one of the most fascinating and valuable treasures in modern coin history. A rare 1972 Washington quarter worth an incredible $69,100. What makes this coin so special is not just its age, but a remarkable combination of rarity, condition, and mysterious minting errors that turned a simple 25-cent piece into a collector's dream. The Washington quarter had been in production since 1932. Honoring the 200th birthday of George Washington. By 1972, it had become a familiar sight in every pocket, purse, and cash register across America. But that year, something extraordinary happened inside the minting facilities. During production, a small number of quarters were struck with unique and unintentional variations, slight differences in die alignment, metal composition, or strike quality that made them unlike any other. These rare pieces, barely distinguishable from regular coins to the untrained eye, would later rise to legendary status among collectors. Some of the most valuable 1972 Washington quarters show crisp, doubled features on the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," a telltale sign of a double die error. Others may have been struck on leftover silver planchets from the 1960s or transitional metal blanks intended for other denominations. In every case, these mistakes were incredibly rare, errors that slipped through the tightest quality controls, surviving decades of circulation before being discovered by sharp-eyed numismatists. To hold one of these coins is to hold a piece of minting history. At first glance, it's just a regular quarter. George Washington's profile on the obverse, the majestic eagle perched proudly on the reverse. But beneath that familiar design lies the story of a time when machines, metals, and human precision met at the crossroads of chance. Each rare 1972 quarter tells its own silent story, of a press misaligned by a fraction of a millimeter, of a leftover silver disc finding its way into a new era of coinage, or of a single strike that forever changed its destiny. Collectors have spent years searching for these hidden gems, checking every coin roll, every old jar of change, and every forgotten drawer. The thrill of discovery drives the hunt, because finding one of these rare 1972 quarters could mean uncovering a fortune. One pristine example, perfectly preserved with its mysterious minting characteristics intact, has been valued at an astonishing $69,100. That's right. A coin originally worth just 25 cents now stands among the most expensive and desirable quarters ever known. The 1972 Washington quarter reminds us that even in the smallest objects, history hides in plain sight. It represents the blend of human craftsmanship and imperfection, the delicate balance between art and accident that gives birth to true rarity. Every scratch, every shine, every letter stamped into its surface tells the story of America's evolving currency and the unexpected treasures it can still produce. Top 3. In 1980, the United States Mint continued its long tradition of producing the Washington quarter dollar, a coin that had already become a symbol of everyday American life. But what few people realized was that hidden among the millions of quarters struck that year were a handful of extraordinary pieces, rare minting errors, and special variants that would one day rise to legendary status. One of these remarkable coins, the 1980 Washington quarter, has been valued at an incredible $30,200. This single quarter, born from a simple mistake, became one of the most valuable modern coins in U.S. history. The story of the 1980 Washington quarter begins in an era of change and transition. By then, the Mint had fully adopted the copper-nickel composition that replaced silver 15 years earlier. The nation's coinage was modern, efficient, and standardized, but even the most precise machines can produce rare accidents. And sometimes, those accidents create treasures. A few 1980 quarters were struck on experimental planchets, transitional metals, or featured striking errors that made them completely unique. Some showed dramatic off-center strikes or doubled dies where the text "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appeared slightly overlapped or shadowed. Others had the wrong mint mark placement or a distinct difference in the thickness of the RIM.AT first glance. These rare 1980 quarters might look like ordinary pocket change. You could easily spin one without realizing what you've just lost. But for experienced collectors and sharp-eyed enthusiasts, the clues are unmistakable. The sound of the coin when dropped, the weight slightly off from the standard 5.67 grams, or the color of the metal just a shade different. All of these can hint at something truly special. A small variation can turn a simple 25-cent coin into a priceless discovery. One of the most spectacular examples of the 1980 Washington quarter, preserved in flawless condition, stunned the numismatic world when it was appraised at over $30,000. What makes it so valuable is its combination of rarity, condition, and history. It's not just a coin. It's a symbol of the precision and imperfection of the minting process, a frozen moment where human technology met chance and produced something extraordinary. Collectors around the world dream of finding one of these coins. The excitement of searching through change, inspecting each quarter's details, and hoping to uncover a hidden masterpiece drives the passion of coin collecting. Every time someone discovers a rare 1980 quarter, it reignites that sense of mystery, the feeling that true treasure can still exist in plain sight. The Washington Quarter series has always represented American heritage and history, bearing the face of the nation's first president. But the 1980 edition stands apart for its hidden stories. It carries the marks of its time, a reflection of the technological age, of modern minting precision, and of the rare, unpredictable errors that remind us nothing made by man is ever truly perfect. The 1980 Washington quarter, valued at $30,200, isn't just a piece of metal. It's a story of discovery, rarity, and luck. It's proof that even in the most ordinary things, greatness can hide. So next time you open your wallet, empty your pockets, or count your change, take a closer look. One of those quarters could be more than just 25 cents. It could be a hidden gem from 1980, a rare mistake that turned into a masterpiece, a simple coin transformed into a fortune worth $30,200 and a place in American coin history forever. Top 4. The United States Mint released another issue of the Washington quarter dollar, a coin so common that millions passed through the hands of everyday Americans without a second thought. But among those countless coins, a few extraordinary pieces emerged, rare and mysterious quarters that would later capture the attention of collectors around the world. These are not ordinary quarters. These are the 1990 Washington quarters that, because of their minting errors and near-perfect preservation, became worth far more than their face value, with one of the rarest examples reaching an unbelievable price of $43,800. The story of the 1990 Washington quarter is a story of perfection and accident colliding at the mint. By 1990, the quarter had already become one of America's most iconic coins, bearing the familiar image of George Washington on the obverse and the proud eagle on the reverse. It was a time before the 50-state quarters program, when the classic design still dominated pockets and cash registers across the country. But even with all the precision and technology used by the mint, rare mistakes still happened. Mistakes that turned a simple 25-cent coin into a numismatic treasure. Some of the 1990 quarters were struck with double-die errors, creating a subtle but noticeable shadow effect on the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date, 1990. Others were minted on planchets intended for other denominations, creating coins that were slightly lighter or heavier than standard. A few even displayed off-center strikes or missing details, adding to their uniqueness. These small imperfections, invisible to most people, became the defining features that transformed ordinary coins into extraordinary collectibles. For collectors, the 1990 Washington quarter represents the thrill of discovery, the excitement of finding a hidden gem where no one else thought to look. Imagine going through your spare change and spotting a quarter that looks just a little different, only to realize you're holding something worth more than $40,000. That feeling of surprise and wonder has fueled coin collecting for generations. The rare 1990 quarter is one of those once-in-a-lifetime finds that every numismatist dreams about. The value of one particular 1990 Washington quarter, graded in flawless mint condition with its rare minting characteristics intact, soared to an astonishing $43,800 at auction. Its worth lies not just in its rarity, but in what it represents: a perfect accident, a blend of precision and imperfection that captures a moment in history. It is proof that even in the modern era of coin production, with machines designed for perfection, human error and chance still find a way to create something truly special. Every scratch, every shine, every curve of the 1990 quarter tells a story of America's history, of technological progress, and of the quiet beauty found in the smallest details. The Washington Quarter series is one of the longest-running in U.S. coinage, and the 1990 edition holds its place as one of the most mysterious and valuable of them all. So the next time you empty your pockets or check your change, look a little closer. That small, ordinary-looking coin might be far more than it seems. Somewhere out there, hidden in plain sight, could be a 1990 Washington quarter worth over $43,800, a coin born of chance, shaped by history, and destined to become one of the most valuable pieces of modern American coinage ever discovered. Top 5. To most people, they were just ordinary 25-cent pieces, simple tools of daily life. But hidden among those millions was a rare and extraordinary coin that would one day capture the imagination of collectors around the world: the 1992 Washington quarter, one of the most valuable and sought-after modern coins in U.S. history. One rare example of this coin reached a jaw-dropping value of $58,400, turning a small piece of metal into a true national treasure. The story of the 1992 Washington quarter is a story of transition, precision, and pure chance. It came at a time when the mint was preparing for the next era of American coinage, the launch of the state quarters program that would begin just a few years later. But before that new chapter started, something remarkable happened behind the scenes. During the minting process in 1992, a handful of quarters were accidentally struck with proof dies or special silver planchets reserved only for collector sets. These coins, almost identical to regular circulation quarters, held a secret difference: a richer shine, sharper details, and a metallic composition that made them stand out from the rest. Some of these 1992 quarters are known for having what collectors call a silver-proof error. They were struck using 90% silver instead of the regular copper-nickel blend. Others display a dramatic double die, where inscriptions like "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" appear slightly shadowed or doubled. These rare minting variations created coins that became instant legends among numismatists, embodying both mystery and perfection in one flawless piece of art. The 1992 Washington quarter's beauty lies in its subtle differences, details invisible to the average eye but instantly recognizable to collectors. The way light reflects off its surface, the crispness of Washington's profile, and the precise edges of the lettering all tell the story of a coin born from precision and accident. These rare errors remind us that even in the most controlled environments, magic can still happen by mistake. One of the finest known examples of the 1992 Washington quarter stunned the collecting world when it was valued at $58,400. Preserved in mint condition, untouched by time, it became a symbol of rarity in modern U.S. coinage, proof that even in the late 20th century, the art of coin minting could still produce unexpected treasures. For coin collectors, the thrill of discovering a rare 1992 quarter is like uncovering buried treasure. The idea that something so valuable could still be hiding in plain sight, in an old coin jar, a forgotten drawer, or a roll of change from the bank, is what makes numismatics so captivating. Every collector dreams of being the one to find the next extraordinary piece, the coin that transforms an ordinary day into a historic discovery. The 1992 Washington quarter reminds us that history is not always ancient. Sometimes it lives quietly in our pockets. It represents the blend of art, history, and chance that makes coin collecting more than a hobby. It's a pursuit of stories told through metal and design. This coin, born from a small mistake, now stands as one of the most valuable modern quarters ever created. The next time you hold a quarter in your hand, take a closer look. Check the year, feel its weight, notice its shine. You never know, that little coin might be one of the rarest of them all. Somewhere out there, hidden among ordinary change, could be a 1992 Washington quarter worth $58,400, a perfect accident of history, a masterpiece of minting, and a reminder that even the smallest things can hold incredible value.